Hi, this is Dan with QT Equipment, and we are just wrapping up this Western Star 4900 XD monster chopper truck, and I just could not let this truck go to the customer without shooting a video on it first. Usually our videos, I do a lot of research, we get really in depth into all the specs and things like that. That's not what we're doing today. I'm just going to show you guys a cool truck, so let's go. Back on the back of the truck here where all the good stuff gets done, we've got the Wilton 8-inch American-made vise. And really, what's the point of having a truck like this with a little baby imported vise, right? You need the best vise in the business, and that's what this is. This white plate down here is a plastic plate. This is a vise isolation plate. If we look underneath here, you've got some plugs. What this does is, if you're going to weld in this vise, it will make sure that the current doesn't get transferred to the chassis and mess anything up. So these are nice to have. Nice little detail here from the paint shop is that this step is cut in black, and it just looks good. It's a nice little breakup there. This truck has the IMT 2020 crane on it. It's going to look a little different than the current Series 3 cranes that we're putting on a lot of trucks. This is most similar to a Series 2 crane, and you can see the Series 2 controls right there. This has the old model numbering system. The first two digits are going to be the thousands of foot-pounds, and then the last two digits are going to be the maximum reach. So this is a 2020 crane. So the first 20 is the 20,000 foot-pounds, which means that at 10 feet, this crane is going to pick up 2,000 pounds. And max lift capacity on this crane is 5,000 pounds. This crane is going to extend 20 feet, that's the second 20 that's in that number. And it's got the radio remote controls. You'll be able to start and stop your compressor if this had a compressor on it. This truck currently does not have an integrated compressor. This truck's going to get a very large, I hear it's 185 CFM compressor on the front welder deck there. Not sure exactly what they are using that for, maybe blowing out a lot of lines. Whatever this truck's going to go do, it definitely needs a lot of air. They don't need, obviously, a lot of pick. They chose not to spend the extra money on something that they're not going to need out in the field. Smaller crane, but I'm sure it'll come in handy. True IMT aficionados out there, people that really know this equipment well, will notice that this panel here is different than what you're currently seeing in your Series 3 bodies. This looks like a Series 2 panel, but it's not a Series 2 panel either. This is our own QT Equipment panel that we had made quite a few years ago. We were having some problems with a select amount of customers. That panel was causing a lot of problems. The nice thing about the IMT panel is that you can control your lights from this compartment as well as a compartment in the front. But if you really don't need that functionality and you want to get away from some of the ribbon wiring that can cause some issues in the field, this is a less smart but more durable panel that we put together. It's got the old school rocker switches on it, although all the wires are still labeled every couple of inches, but you really shouldn't need to troubleshoot these things. They've been very reliable for us out in the field. If you've got a Series 3 body and you're having wiring troubles with it, you constantly have to plug things, unplug to get those things to work. It's really frustrating. This panel is available as a part and will match up with any Series 3 body that's out there. Just call our parts department if you want to make the switch back in time to this style panel. We'd be happy to help you out. You'll notice the louvers on the horizontal compartment here. This compartment inside just has two shelves, and these louvers were done at the factory. Not sure exactly why the customer needs this. I didn't get too deep into that. I'd love to know. But these louvers are available at the factory. We've also done those on standard bodies. Sometimes certain districts, like I know in Canada, your oxygen acetylene compartments need to be louvered. We have a company locally that can do those louvers for us before we paint. So that's what those are. This compartment here is just shelves, and this compartment here is your oxygen acetylene compartment, and it's got a hose reel for your oxygen acetylene, which is really nice. This here is a 50-inch welder deck, and that's our common term for it, but this truck is actually not getting a welder. This slide out here is going to slide towards the driver's side, and the customer is going to install a 185 CFM air compressor on this. The slide out allows you to easily service that equipment without having to unbolt things or work in a really cramped space. We've done these with welders before. This is our first time doing it with air compressor, but it seems like a great idea to stay on top of your maintenance. The other thing I'll point out since I'm right here is custom light bar with a strobe on the top, and then that's a 16.5-inch buyer's light that's going to light up the load space. So you're working in the dark and you need to get up in the load space and grab something, or at least make sure that you're up there maneuvering safely. That'll give you plenty of light. Onto the chassis. This is the Western Star 4900 XD. In the XD line, they've got a 4900 and a 6900. They cut the 5900 out. They don't need it. This truck is built for, and this whole line is built for extreme off-road, severe duty, in the middle of nowhere applications. Everything we do pretty much is an off-road application, but this takes off-road to a whole nother level. This has got a Detroit engine in it. Most everything we do is a Cummins engine. This is the Detroit engine. This also has the Allison, I'm not sure which, I think it's a 3000 RDS transmission, but Detroit engine, Allison transmission. You can also get Western Stars with a Detroit transmission. I've never driven one before, but I hear that they have an automated manual transmission, which is a little different than an automatic transmission, but gives you a lot of control over creeping a small amount of distance. It's a really smooth ride from everybody that I've talked to. The nice thing about Western Star is that they will go deeper in the specs for you to build you exactly what you want. Especially now, if you ask Kenworth or Peterbilt for something special, man, you better have a fleet of 100, a fleet of 500, and then you may not even get what you want. Western Star, I'm not saying that they would do it for a one-off, but they have a much deeper bench of options that can be done directly at the factory. So for instance, if you wanted a International that was a four-wheel drive International will build that truck, and then they would send it to a third party to have the four-wheel drive installed. Western Star, they would do that in-house. We haven't done a lot of these in the past, mostly because of price. If you were taking this a couple of years ago, if you took a Kenworth or a Peterbilt spec and matched it up with a Western Star, the Western Star is probably going to be more expensive by about $15,000 or so. I'm not sure exactly where that lines up today, price in 2022 or kind of all over the board. I would suspect there's been a closing of the gap for Western Star and the PACCAR products. One of the nice things about this truck, and we'll get into some of these details, is that it's built for the end user to do their own service. And a lot of where things have gone in our industry is that they want to keep the dealers in the loop. They want you to go back to Kenworth. They want you to go back to Peterbilt and have the dealers do that service, and that works for a lot of people. But if you're in the middle of a gold mine somewhere, you're in the middle of some kind of crazy mine out west, swinging into the dealership is not going to be a convenient option for you. So Western Star thinks about that and designs this equipment for the end user to do a lot of their service themselves. There's not a lot of trucks that you could just kneel on the fender like this. You've got this nice grippy platform here, so if you're in the middle of nowhere and there's mud everywhere, to get up here, you've got a nice grip section there for your boot and a handrail. This is a nice wide platform. This section here feels like fiberglass, but it's got a little grip to it instead of just regular paint. If you need to work on this engine compartment opens up real wide. This top panel lifts out, and you've got a lot of space, and then you don't have to work off of a ladder. You can work off this platform right here. Another thing I really like about this truck, and I don't know why, this must just be a male thing, sits up real high, right? This is about 56, 57 inches to the bottom of this door here. You need 2 steps to get in, but once you get in there, you can see, I mean, your visibility is fantastic. So you've got a nice grab handle, 2 steps, you've got another handle on the inside. Just make sure you got some good mobility and you're in good shape for getting in and out of this truck all day, but you know, sitting up higher is definitely better. A lot of the newer chassis have migrated to more of an automotive style. It's a lot of plastic, there's more electronic gauges, it's fancier, it does more cool things. This truck is the total opposite. I mean, this is a substantial metal steering wheel and old school gauges and old school rocker switches. It's functional. This is not a pretty show truck. This is a work truck. This is 100% work truck from start to finish. And one of the cool things that our production team pointed out to me, which may be helpful in the future, is if you need to wire something up with one of these switches, it's not like you got to take a bunch of plastic clips and real pain in the ass to get inside the dash. There's 2 screws here at the top and then a piano hinge at the bottom. And this dash section just folds down. You can get in there and work on it. Honey, I think this would look great in our driveway. Taking the kids to school in this thing would be just fantastic. And I know that it would be a little difficult to park at the grocery store, but look at all the stuff we could haul. I mean, the Costco run would be epic. Father's Day is coming up. Red would be a great color. Thank you very much for watching. You want to find out more about what we do? Facebook, QT Equipment. Instagram, QT Equipment. Our website, qtequipment.com. Work dirty, be happy. Until next time. No, I am not ready. I am entirely ill-prepared for this video. We're going to wing it, though. Good?